has been a little bit of a problem there. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that for anybody on watching our YouTube channel, as we had some audio issues. We've been having some issues with this one microphone, trying to get all that taken care of, but apologies for the minute of silence that was on there. I think everything's coming through as of right now. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. This is Weather Overtime, keeping you updated as to what is going on with weather in and around the area of southeast Tennessee, northern portions of Georgia, back into western North Carolina and northeastern Alabama. It is, again, a quiet night tonight, but as we go into the next couple of days, we are going to be watching very carefully to see what is going to be going on, especially down into the Gulf of Mexico. It doesn't look like a lot right now, but there are going to be the potential problems of maybe some more tropical weather coming on through. That is something we're really going to have to watch. You especially, I'm not going anywhere, but if you're going to be heading down to the Gulf of Mexico in the next week or so, this is going to be a situation that you really do need to pay attention to. And any point in time between now and December the 1st, as we go through tropical storm season, this is, again, going to be a very big concern for anybody going close to anything around the oceans because of the potential risk of maybe some storms forming out there. Right now, it's decently quiet. Looking back from the Chattanooga Zoo webcam, it was the Chattanooga Zoo Ice Cream Safari webcam, but as of right now, that has been sold out. Congratulations to the Chattanooga Zoo on that. Glad to see everybody taking part in that. Little remnant of sunset going on, helicopter taking off, just seen around the area of the horizon. Some clouds out there for right now. It's a beautiful evening overall. Very nice for baseball in downtown. The view of the friendly confines of AT&T Field. We'll see how the Lookouts did coming up tonight on News 12 at 11. Beautiful view from the Bailey's Heating and Air camera. From the area of 153 Highway and 64 overpass, looking off to the south and to the west on the Plainview Outdoor Advertising camera. Traffic is still pretty heavy at this point, but otherwise moving along pretty well. There was some pretty good construction traffic last night. That not taking place at this time from 75 north to 24 west. But if you're heading through that area, remember construction back over to the west of this camera, to the west of CHI Memorial Stadium. So that could be a problem as we go into later on tonight. Downtown from the News 12 studios, looking over the rim of Lookout Mountain and just some fading sunset light out there. We're up to about 14 and a half hours of daylight, and we've got just about 9 days left of increasing amounts of daylight before we start losing our daylight, marching toward wintertime, the solstice, in just about 9 days or so. Let's see, what else haven't we taken a look at here? Let's take a look at the Chattanooga Theater Center camera, Speedy's Total Car Care camera, back toward around the area of Coolidge Park, the footbridge off toward Raccoon Mountain in the distance, lit up quite nicely back over toward AT&T Field, which you saw just a second ago, and the Tennessee River with a few folks out and about down on the Riverwalk for tonight. A nice night, and going to continue to see some very mild conditions into the course of the next several days, so that is something that we could be looking at some changes taking place. We'll have more on that for you here in just a little bit. Temperatures at just before the top of the hour, still in the lower 80s. Winds light out of the northeast. That's not really helping to keep us cool, but we will continue to see some very mild conditions into the course of the next several days. So stay tuned for more on that. Almanac page did show, again, a high temperature, just basically right smack on normal for this time of the year. The record high for today showing very easily that we can reach the century mark at this time of the year. Maybe it's fairly rare. That's the hottest temperature we've had on this date ever. That about 122 years ago, pretty far back, as well as the area around times being kept for record temperatures. 50 degrees set 11 years after that as a record low temperature. And when that's the record low, you know that you're getting into the very warm portions of time throughout the entire year. Solar and lunar data, we're still about waxing crescent, getting close to the first quarter moon in the next couple of days. Sunrise and sunset time are again getting longer, but only by seconds per day. We're going to be getting close to that maximum amount of sunlight in, again, about 9 days as we approach the solstice. We'll bring you more updates on that coming up in just a little while. Temperatures right before the top of the hour. And again, Scottsboro, I would get your airport recording station looked at because something's not right with those temperatures. Back in the 60s and 70s, Rome, Georgia, just outside the News 12 viewing area, you're in the lower 80s and close to that in many locations as that warmer air starts to make its way in from out west. Comfortable for the most part, and again, this is what we're going to be seeing through the next couple of days as those temperatures are going up out there. I should mention again, for those of you who've never been here before, this is Weather Overtime. It's our online video weather blog. We're coming to you from the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, North Georgia, Northeast Alabama, Southeast Tennessee, and Western North Carolina is our area of coverage. If you have a question on Twitch or YouTube, please drop them into the chat function and we'll answer what we can. If we can't get you an immediate answer, we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can on there. But thank you very much for joining us. Thanks to all the new viewers on Twitch for keeping an eye on what's going on and for subscribing. Really nice to have everybody along and watching what is going on. Okay, so, for the next couple of days, we are going to see that area of high pressure back to the north of us, right back up around the Virginias. This is where we'll be getting the numbers that'll be very much on the quiet side. High pressure sitting here is doing a good job of keeping things very much on the quiet side all over the eastern seaboard. Air around high pressure in the northern hemisphere rotates clockwise, so this is helping to stir up a little bit of moisture. Part of where our humidity is coming from is from this area of high pressure and from an area of low pressure just off the coastline. Now, what we're also going to be seeing through the next couple of days, part of that is down to the south of us is a storm system which is crossing Florida and which is doing a very good job of shoveling tons of moisture from the Gulf and the Caribbean and the Atlantic right over portions of southern Florida. This has brought, if the radar estimates are to be believed, east of Miami toward the Bahamas about a foot, and then about 1.5 feet of rain around Alligator Alley and south down toward the Keys. That is a just phenomenal amount of rain in 24 hours time, but that's part of the next system that we're going to be watching here. We also have another area of low pressure down toward the Bay of Campeche. We'll talk about that and the other systems coming our way in just a little while. Meanwhile, that area of high pressure, two of them, two domes, one over the Rockies and one back over the Virginias. This is going to help push any storm systems back to the north and to the east of us. So we've got several storm systems lined up, one after the other, one over Minnesota, one over the northeastern Pacific, and what looks to be another and fairly powerful system making its way across the Bering Sea and heading toward the northern portions of the Pacific. So we've got at least three lined up and ready to go in the course of the next several days, none of which are going to be giving us too much of a problem. Now, into Friday, this front might make its way into the area. That is a big fat maybe at this point. What we are not seeing is the potential of anything really huge taking place. It is possible, but for right now, it doesn't really look like a huge potential out there. Here's what it looks like. For the next couple of days, we'll be seeing much less cooler temperatures in the morning, and then temperatures again over the next few days stair-stepping upward. So high 80s, low 90s. And then as we get into Friday, that next cold front tries to make its way southward, but high pressure is going to make that cold front fight for every inch of its trip south. So by Friday, we'll still be south of that front, and we'll have numbers back in the mid to upper 90s, and it still gets very warm there. That front comes through on Saturday, but no moisture on either side of that at this point, and very mild temperatures in the morning. Temperatures as we go into the weekend, some of these computer models are going a little bit high, but it does look to be fairly close to the high 90s and right around the triple digits as we get into Saturday. Sunday morning does not look cool. High 60s to high 70s for low temperatures, and then back into the mid to upper 90s to triple digits as we get into Sunday. Dad's Day looks like it is going to be absolutely stifling out there. So indoors with a drink of ice water and maybe with a fan in front of you, that might be a better idea there. Air quality is not great. It's at a moderate category just at 10 o'clock on Wednesday evening. What we have is not that much in the way of fires. We have a couple of wildfire spots showing up on the Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer Suite, or VIIRS. We're seeing minimal fires, but we are seeing a lot, the gray color, a lot of smoke hanging over the area, and that's why it looks more gray than blue into the skies across much of the southeastern United States. Now, into the next few days, as high pressure remains in control, we'll continue to see some dry conditions. The next best chance of rainfall we've got is pretty much about a week away. Island Cove, Lake Chickamauga, hardly any wind, so the surface of the water is like glass at this point in time. And then we go into Flag Day, temperatures on the rise. Dad's Day looks to be the hottest portion of the weekend, and then with a chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms as we go from Monday into Tuesday. We'll drop the temperatures a little bit. I really, just in my heart of hearts, I cannot call the lower 90s cooler in any way, shape, or form. So this is where we start to see the potential of not as hot. Again, that's the best we can do semantically. But we'll see a chance of rainfall Monday and Tuesday, and that's about it. And then temperatures remain in the lower 90s. That is still above normal. This is way above normal. And again, as we go toward Monday, which is World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought, more information from the United Nations. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little while, so stay tuned. Welcome to everybody watching on Twitch and on YouTube for this Wednesday evening. Glad to have you along. What's going on in the tropics? Well, actually a lot compared to what we saw through the last couple of days. We've got this storm system here making its way up to the north and to the east, and that's going to be going over this area east of the Carolinas. So that, we'll just call that storm system number one, or Atlantic disturbance number one. None of these are actual tropical storms, hurricanes, or tropical depressions even. They're just what are called areas of investigation, or an invest. So we've got two in the Gulf now, one heading off the coastline here, another one in the Bay of Campeche, and this one will again be the potential of something developing. These two here, out of the three you see on screen, these two stand the best potential of developing into something, and quite possibly quickly. Now, there's no guarantee of this. We could see a tropical depression in the next day or two. The waters here, and we'll show you the map in just a minute, are way off the charts warm, well ahead of what they should be at this time of the year. So these two, I would, anywhere from Brownsville to the Keys, I would watch this system in the Bay of Campeche. That one has the highest potential of developing, giving that a 30% chance of development. The other two, the one off the East Coast and the other one into and around the area of northern portions of southern Mexico and into the far northeastern area of the Pacific. That one also, and the latest update, has a 20% chance of it developing in the next 7 days. So this will scoot along the coastline and give some problems maybe to around the area of Acapulco, the Baja Peninsula, into that area. That might be a concern. Again, if you're traveling, taking a beach vacation between Florida and Texas, I'd watch this with a lot of interest more than anything else. This one off the coast doesn't sound like it's giving us too much of any concern. None of these, again, are organized enough just yet for the National Hurricane Center to say anything about giving them an official designation. But we are just now 12 days into the season, and the energy from the tropics, the sunlight that is coming down on that area where those storms develop, is continuing to build. It's called ACE, or Available convective energy. And over the next several days, we're looking at our own heat wave here, but we are also going to be seeing, and this is exceptionally worrisome, where we've got some temperatures into the upper 80s. And again, some areas on this temperature scale, the scale up here in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, we've got some areas right off the Florida coast. Those darker red colors you see there in southwest Cuba and over the Bay of Campeche, that right there is temperatures of the high 80s to even into the low 90s. And that, again, any storm system that comes over this, if the conditions are right, it's what is called RI, rapid intensification. And that is what we may see if anything rolls over this very warm area, including right here. This is called the loop current. It takes a northerly path toward Florida and the rim of the Gulf before diving south along Florida and going between Florida, the Keys, and Cuba before it forms into the Gulf Stream. Now that right there, anything in that darker red category where we're pushing 90 degrees, that is where we could see rapid intensification take place. And if you remember some of the storms of last year, especially Otis in the Pacific area around Acapulco, that went, thanks to the warmer waters of the Pacific, that went from being a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane in 9 hours. That's what we have to deal with these days as the ocean continues to absorb more of the heat of the atmosphere from human-induced fossil fuel usage. So this is the ocean trying to save our planet by absorbing that heat and spreading it around the oceans, causing them to become much, much warmer. And that is what in turn could lead to higher possibilities of confusion and higher uncertainty, and also stronger storms. So that's what we're looking at right now. Two systems of note, and that again is something I would watch with a lot of interest to make certain that we are paying attention to what is going on. We still have Saharan dust making its way across the ocean, and a pretty big pulse of that is going to be heading over into the next several days. So if we're lucky, maybe this will impede development and hope to keep the number of storms down. But that is not affecting that particular area of the world from the East Coast down into the Gulf. So that is something we're also going to have to watch at this point. Now, on that note, and taking a look at what is going on with the oceans, as we had, this is World Ocean Month for the month of June. So if you didn't know that, take a look and see more about how we can protect our oceans during World Oceans Month and the other 11 months out of the year. 750 billion tons of ice melt every year from glaciers, snowpack, things like that. Putting on your mathematics cap, what does that equal out to every second? That is, again, something to really take a look at, because it is actually the correct answer, and 76% of you voted for it. 24,000 tons per second is entering the oceans. That is, according to the worldcounts.com on the melting ice caps portion of the site, that is 10 Olympic swimming pools, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, every single second. That's a lot of water that is making its way into the oceans. So that's why it is important to watch out, and that sea level rise is expected to cause a lot of problems in the course of the next half a decade to the next half of a century. So something to think about. That's our friendinroofing.com weather poll of the day. Thanks to everybody for voting. A new poll goes up at midnight, so go to wdef.com/vote now, or use the QR code on your screen to vote. We've got news polls, we've got sports polls, we've got all sorts of neat things out there, so please drop by and take a look. We'd love to have you vote in our polls, and thanks to everybody who has done so far. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap things up for tonight. It's quiet, it's dry, it's warm, and a beautiful view from the backyard of Jeff Miller in Hickson, Tennessee, catching a garden visitor passing on by, a flutter by, if you will. Thank you very much, Mr. Miller, for our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. And if you've got pictures butterfly oriented or otherwise. As long as it's weather related, we'll take it. So send them in to us at pictures@wdef.com. Drop them to our social media channels on the comments section with a description and or location, please. And or go to our website, wdef.com/photos, to both turn yours in and see what everybody else has been submitting for our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. We would love to be able to see what you're seeing out there and find out what's going on. Want to cool off? The Tennessee Aquarium is a very good place to go. Check out our interview with Tom Benson, the communications person for the aquarium tonight. He stopped by News 12 to chat a little bit. Had the news about one of the record amount of traffic we have had to the Tennessee Aquarium, one of the more popular attractions in this area of the state. I love going here just to see what I didn't learn the last time around and to pick up something new when it comes to anything involving knowledge of the sea and conservation and ecology and why we need to keep our oceans and rivers and wetlands and peat bogs and everything else as clean as possible. And you can check out the Secret Reef webcam that's available at the Tennessee Aquarium website at tnaqua.org. Just out of the corner of my eye, it's on the monitor up here. I was hoping that we would get a giant shark to swim by close. We've got at least one ray coming fairly close there. Again, the aquarium closed right now, but a nice view nonetheless to be able to take a look out there for this evening. Should be looking at pretty good conditions again for tonight and into again tomorrow. What we're going to be seeing overnight will be the potential of just some fairly mild conditions, not much better than the mid to upper 60s for low temperatures, and that is about as good as it gets for the overnight period. Couple things I want to talk about here. It is not happening just yet, but it will be coming up this coming Sunday. Father's Day is, next week. It'll be 10 days from now, 10, 11 days from now. National Lightning Safety Awareness Week. That'll be coming up June 23rd. More information about how you can stay safe with lightning around. And remember, no place outside is safe. More information from the National Lightning Safety Council. If you'd like a preview of National Lightning Safety Awareness Week, go to lightningsafetycouncil.org for more information on that. Next Monday, this coming Monday, in fact, is the World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought. We've got changing weather conditions all over the planet thanks to climate change. If we want to stop that and make certain that we keep our planet livable and as our only home in space, that would be a good idea. More information about what desertification and drought is, go to the World United Nations Environment Program. You can get there from UN.org, United Nations, information on daily observances and Desertification Day coming up. That'll be Monday, the 17th of June. That'll be next week, Monday. Now, coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, there is a special day for all amateur radio operators. It is called Field Day. It is a day when both singular amateur radio operators and radio clubs work to contact as many other operators and clubs throughout the United States and all around the world. It is a time when, if you are out and about on this particular Saturday and Sunday, the 22nd and 23rd, if you see tents and radio equipment, towers, antennae, things like that, set up someplace where there isn't usually something like that going on. The idea of Field Day is operating in the field. In case there is a major disaster, ham radio operators could become the first line of communication, because it's going to be a possibility, if the disaster is big enough, you're not going to be able to pick this up and order a pizza to get it to your house in 30 minutes or less. If a disaster is that bad, that is something that really needs to be thought about for safety's sake. And if you would like information about what amateur radio is, more importantly, how you can get involved and where you can find the Field Day sites coming up, June 22nd and 23rd, go to ARRL.org. That's the American Radio Relay League, the voice of amateur radio in the United States. A very good website to check out, ARRL.org/field-day. and find out more about why amateur radio is so cool as a hobby and as a lifeline when it becomes necessary. A lot of people I know, and especially online, jeer the idea that we promote this, but again, you can depend on this a little bit too much. And if you'd like to know more about people who get prepared for disasters, the catchphrase means a lot. When all else fails, amateur radio works. And there's a lot of folks out there who practice and try to get ready so they can get information out and in of a particular area. They work in hurricane zones. They work in disaster areas. You can send a health and welfare message into a certain area to see what's going on, to get in contact with someone who might be a loved one, a relative, a friend, something like that. That's something else to take a look at. I've got my license. I got it in February of 2000, so I've had my license for just about a quarter of a century. I wish that I would have gotten my amateur radio license when I was much younger. I've seen amateur radio operators as young as 7 or 8 years old, and I wish I would have gotten my license a long time ago. It's a fun hobby. It's nice to just what is called rag chew, talking to people down the block, around the corner, in the next county. With the right equipment and the right power supply and the right knowledge of safety and electronics, you can talk to people using just minimum amounts of power by bouncing the signal either on satellites or all over the world. And if you'd like to know more about this, really cool opportunity to learn more, again, from ARRL.org. Now, following up on the heels of that, a local group would like to invite you to find out more about amateur radio. They're holding a tutorial and a free lunch afterwards. This will be held at the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club in Cleveland, Tennessee. The meeting will be taking place the hours before field day officially begins. So if you'd like to know more about this free 1-hour tutorial, Introduction to Ham Radio, to be held in Cleveland, Tennessee, Saturday, the day field day begins from noon to 1 p.m., go to their website and find out more at carc.cc. Here's the catch on this. They need, if they're going to be serving lunch, they need to know how many people are going to be showing up to plan ahead. So they ask that you RSVP no later than a week from today. And the way you do that, the information is on their website. It's at carc.cc. If you'd like to show up there and give a little bit more information about who you are and what is going to be heading, how many people are going to be showing up to the event. Have to thank Cleveland Amateur Radio Club. Specifically, I'd like to thank Matt Thayer, K04IYW. That's his amateur radio call sign. Also, again, field day activity, CARC Activities Chairman Rex Smith, K4RXS. And again, all the information, contacting CARC President Steve Weber at, I believe that's KA4ELN, if I'm not mistaken. And again, that's where the RSVP needs to be sent to as well, so you can find out more at this website. Thanks to Cleveland ARC for sending this information in. I'm glad to help out and bring that information out to the public. Really nice to see folks involved with this, and I love talking about this because it is a very cool hobby to get involved in. So thanks to Cleveland Amateur Radio Club. We'll promote this as much as we possibly can in the next several days. And if there are any other ham radio groups out there that would like me to throw this information out there, please contact me. I would love to know more about it. We'll talk about it as long as we can on here. The email address at the bottom of your screen at aonic@wdef.com, or you can contact us through the website at the bottom of your screen, and that again at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to know a little bit more about what's going on there. So thanks to everybody for sending the information in, and we'll continue to promote this for as long as we possibly can. Let's see how we're doing here tonight. Okay, just over half an hour's time. It's about 10:18. I wonder if we've missed this. Hang on, just 2 shakes here. I want to see if this is still, I think we probably did miss it. Yes, the Chinese space station just flew overhead a few minutes ago, but unfortunately seeing conditions with those clouds and the haze out there is a little difficult to see. So hopefully somebody got a good view of Tiangong 1 flying overhead tonight. Hopefully a better view tomorrow night. We'll bring you more information about that coming up on News 12 a little bit later on tonight and into tomorrow. More information about what's going on, again, please check in on our social media pages. We'd love to know more about what you're seeing out there, and stay in contact with us through our website. Let's see, what did I do with it? Okay, it was around here someplace. I know. Okay, we'll just use this one for right now. Again, if you have the opportunity to stop by, remember that you can get Weather Overtime. For those of you who are not watching it on your laptop, your tablet, your computer, desk at home, you can watch Weather Overtime over our app. So if you'd like to see it wherever you go, please drop by and download the News 12 weather app. Just go to your app store and search WDEF and download the News 12 weather app, and then that way you can watch Weather Overtime wherever you happen to be. You can find me again on all of these websites. Thanks a lot to everybody for following on. But again, our live stream and Weather Overtime is readily available, waiting for you to stop by and take a look at things. So stay tuned for more on that. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. And also on all of my social media sites as well. All right, that should do it for tonight. It is a quiet night out there, hopefully staying that way. We'll keep our eyes on whatever else might be coming on through. But for right now, again, not too bad. Excuse me, if you're heading down to the Gulf of Mexico or the Keys anytime soon, I would watch those tropical systems just to be on the safe side, because that could get ugly very quickly in the way this environment is shaping up for not only for this week, this weekend, and into the rest of the month, but pretty much throughout the rest of the season, with the ocean temperatures being that warm. Better be ready to protect yourself, be weather aware, pay attention to what's going on with the forecast. Your life, and not kidding about this is not hype, your life could depend on your keeping an eye on what's going on with the forecast. So please consider that in the next several days and weeks. All right, we'll go ahead and send it back to your regular programming. News 12 at 11. Rick Nyman, Dave Staley is in tonight for the newscast. Chip Chapman will have your forecast early in the morning. And, of course, I'll be back with an update on Thursday night. Time is just slipping away for this week. More details again on your forecast available, WDEF.com/weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This is Wednesday, June 12th from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thanks for joining us for Weather Overtime. And again, stay tuned for more with News 12 on air